Talk legislature, huh? Maybe unintended consequences. They can be a byproduct of the legislative process, Idaho and really anywhere. It's not really a surprise. One letter here, a different word there. Writing and editing laws can be more of a living art than exact science from time to time. And stateside here in Idaho, a recently passed Idaho law, well, it's a lack of words that is drawing attention to a possible gap in the law. So originally called House Bill 173, the law we're talking about here deals with foreign entities owning certain properties and assets here in Idaho. And as described in the legislation's statement of purpose that passed this past year, the law prohibits a foreign government or foreign government-controlled entity from purchasing, acquiring, or holding controlling interests in ag land, water rights, mining claims, or mineral rights in the state of Idaho. So just for a little backstory for you, the law is tied into fears of foreign ownership of large swaths of land near military installations in other states. For example, what are we talking about? Well, earlier this year, a major story to the east of us here in Idaho, a Chinese company had plans to build a major grain mill plant in near an Air Force base in North Dakota. And that was stopped, though, by the Pentagon and U.S. lawmakers. They were raising questions about national security, and you can imagine what those conversations were like. Eventually, local officials, they scrapped the project in North Dakota altogether. So lawmakers in Idaho took note of that whole saga, saying in testimony back in March that they don't want entities like China or Russia buying up lots of land under the guise of farming near Idaho military installations. And scenes like this you're looking at, beautiful spots across Idaho. Well, one problem, a lobbying group representing the native tribes of Idaho, they noticed that the wording in this law might go too far. They brought it up Friday at the Idaho Council on Indian Affairs meeting. They point to what a foreign government counts as.
A foreign government means a government other than the federal government of the United States or the government of any state, political subdivision of a state, territory, or possession of the United States. And what the bill did is it created an unintentional consequence, and that is the omission of federally recognized Indian tribes.
So that's Blake Yude. He's a lobbyist, and he represents the Shoshone-Bannock tribes and has also been in conversation with other tribes in the state of Idaho as well. And he says that the new law has created confusion for title companies and county clerks. The Shoshone-Bannock tribe, as well as the Coeur d'Alene tribes, reported an issue with the law during recent land acquisitions.
It really becomes an issue of, while the legal precedence is there, title companies aren't exactly always legal scholars, and that's not an insult to the title companies, but having it be very clear in the definition, since the definition is very specific on who's excluded, as a foreign government, would just make this a lot cleaner, more specific, and take the hitch out of these transactions.
So we're at the solution phase of our story, and a final one will need to wait until the legislature fully reconvenes. That'll likely be in January. But here's the suggestion from the tribes and the reception that they're getting on making the change from the stakeholders.
The amendment we would propose is to include specifically federally recognized Indian tribes in that list of what is not a foreign government. So that would be an amendment that would be with attorneys having the final input somewhere along between lines 34 and 36 on that list. We have spoken with the bill sponsors. They're open to the amendment. We've been encouraged actually to get it drafted and run the bill as soon as fast as possible, even with an emergency clause next session, so that this clarity doesn't wait till July 1st, but would actually be clear, assuming it passes the legislature and is signed by the governor.
So another item for us to track heading into 2024.